Lily thought to herself, there's no reason for me to stay here any longer. Once I'm back in Korea, I'll come up with an excuse to leave. Suddenly, she felt a surge of unease. What is going on? She wondered. Did someone manage to bypass the security system? But it's one of the best. How could anyone get in without setting off the alarms? Before she could process further, a voice interrupted her thoughts. Don't even think about running. You'll only make this harder on yourself. Her heart skipped a beat as she recognized the figure. Giulio Parenti. He stared at her coldly. I hear you've been posing as me.
What?
I'd never. Lily protested, her voice shaking. There must be some mistake. I know who's really behind this. I can explain, so please, just calm down and… Her words were cut short as he struck, anger flashing in his eyes. That's for framing me, he said, his tone ice-cold. And this one just because I'm in a foul mood. Hey, you can't just keep barging in like this. What's your problem? Lily exclaimed, bracing herself against the pain. Giulio shrugged nonchalantly. I thought you might be in pain once the anesthesia wore off. I'm your bodyguard. Protecting you is part of the job. He paused, glancing over at her. Is this where you got hurt? It's fine. Already taken care of, Lily muttered, trying to brush off the concern. By Parenti? He asked, raising an eyebrow. Yes, him. He's quite skilled. We didn't even need a doctor. Giulio looked at her with an unreadable expression. Does he actually like you? She mumbled something under her breath, looking away. Nothing. Giulio handed her a glass of water. Logan called while you were asleep. He mentioned that Valentine's Day is arranging a bodyguard for Mujin Kong at the upcoming party. Really? Lily responded, intrigued.
Yeah.
That's the reason Logan came to Cambodia. And Mujin Kong, he's a client of mine. That's why I was nearby when I heard about you, he explained. All you have to do is look for Oslo at the party. The Asian man next to him will be Mujin Kong. All right, she said, feeling the weight of the situation settle over her. Are you ready? What did I do? Lily asked, noticing the intensity in his gaze. So, are you ready? Giulio replied. Why wouldn't I be ready? Lily retorted, but then hesitated. By the way, are we really going to be sharing the same room? It doesn't seem like the best idea. Of course we are, Giulio said matter-of-factly. You're pretending to be my partner. People will be watching. Lily scoffed. Watching, right? Mind zipping me up? Giulio asked, turning his back to her. We don't have time for this. There's a party we're supposed to get to, she replied, flustered. I'm not particularly eager to go either, he admitted, but if we must, I want you to be the center of attention. Let everyone's eyes be drawn to you. Is this really necessary? She asked, a bit uncertain. Absolutely, he replied. In a game like this, whoever thinks they hold the upper hand often makes the first move. So, are you saying Mujin Kong will come looking for me? She asked, piecing things together. More or less, he said, signaling the end of the conversation. As she adjusted herself, Lily couldn't help but notice how much more physical Giulio had been with her since that night. It felt like he no longer needed to size her up. Should I play along? She wondered. If he keeps letting his guard down, it could work in my favor. Just then, Giulio handed her a package. It must have arrived. She asked. The equipment you'll need. Take a look inside. Lily opened the box, her eyes widening. Wow, these are high quality. Inside was a bracelet containing sedatives, a necklace with a small hidden bomb, and even hairpins designed for defense. What do you think? Giulio asked with a smirk. It suits you. After a moment, he added, about that cruise ship we're supposed to be on today. Didn't you say it was still on its way here? It looked docked earlier, she noted. That was just a decoy for display. There's a pre-party there tonight, Giulio explained. Shall we? Lily took a deep breath. All right. As they arrived, she felt her pulse quicken. I'm finally here, the place where Dewey is. Whether or not he was at tonight's event, he would be on that cruise ship tomorrow. Once they entered the grand party, the atmosphere was even more extravagant than she'd expected. She felt the weight of countless eyes on them. They're all staring. I can't keep a straight face. They're only looking because you're radiant, Giulio teased, leaning close. Your cheeks are flushed. You look beautiful. Flushed? I'm not, she stammered, unsure how to respond. Oh, really? He said with a smirk, tracing her flushed cheeks with his eyes. Just then, a voice interrupted. Giulio. It's been a while. Fancy running into you here. Lily caught sight of a familiar figure across the room. That woman. That's Sei Jang, the wife of a red mafia mobster and Giulio Parenti's former lover. Her gaze shifted to the man next to Sei, which means that man must be Yuri Petrov, a member of the Red Mafia and CFO of the Petrov Corporation. Nice to meet you, Yuri said, addressing her. How does he know who I am? Lily thought, but kept her composure. Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you, too. I hope you're not just here for her sake, he added, scrutinizing her. Is that what you think? She responded, hiding her unease. Just then, her attention was drawn to a new face in the crowd. Dear God, that's Cyril Kuzmin. Memories flashed back to the time she'd put him in the hospital years ago. She had forgotten he was Petrov's right-hand man. In the midst of her thoughts, a voice broke through. Excuse me, are you Koreans? Yes, she replied, startled. My name is Hana Lee. It's great to meet you. You're absolutely stunning, the stranger complimented her. Thank you, Lily replied, still cautious. Stay here, Giulio instructed. Don't move an inch. Can't we take a look around? She asked.
No.
We haven't fully scanned the ship yet. Just stay put. He turned to Cyril. Guard Sei while I'm gone. Once Giulio left, Cyril turned to Lily. Shall we go inside where there's air conditioning? Sorry, she replied, a bit surprised. Let the men drink themselves silly over there, Cyril suggested. I don't like being outside. You never know when a bullet might come flying. All those tall buildings make perfect spots for snipers. I'm sure the organizers planned for that, Lily replied, trying to relax. Hannah, he said with a hint of a smile, just act natural. Mujin Kong won't be making an appearance tonight. Wait, what are you? Don't trust anyone here, no matter what they say. He hesitated, then added, Actually, you can trust me. He pointed to his bracelet. See this? I made it. I'm sure you know it has sedatives, but if you twist the blue diamond 90 degrees, it releases a stimulant as an antidote. If you ever get drugged, inhale it. I never told Giulio, he continued, but I'm telling you because I like you. She's maddeningly charming, Lily thought. Is this why Giulio was so infatuated with her? Why are you telling me this? She asked. Let's just say, you remind me of myself, a version of me from long ago.
Me?
I'm nothing like you, Lily replied. Maybe not, Cyril conceded. But once I risked everything to protect my family, too. Just trust me. The Mujin Kong appearing here tonight is probably a decoy. Then where's the real one? Watching us from the shadows, most likely. If he sent in a stand-in, it's because he knew he'd be in danger.
Just then, she spotted someone.
Isn't that Gavin Smith? Hannah, she said urgently, stay here a moment and call for extra guards. Then, addressing another guard, Eunseong, go to the other side and block all potential escape routes. Our target is a waiter with a red bow tie. With Eunseong gone, Lily scanned the room, trying to locate Gavin. All the waiters are wearing black bow ties, including Smith, so I should have a bit of time. Suddenly, she froze. Where did he go? He vanished in the blink of an eye. A sharp voice cut through her thoughts. You have no idea how long I've waited for this moment. You'll never understand just how long I've been waiting for this, Cyril Kuzmin sneered, his eyes gleaming with fury. What the hell is wrong with you? Lily shot back, struggling against his strength. Don't you realize today's supposed to be a truce, Kuzmin? A truce? Don't make me laugh, he scoffed. My only goal is to kill you. Lily gritted her teeth. He's too strong. Pain flared as Cyril's grip tightened. I'll make you feel the exact same pain I did. What goes around comes around, she thought bitterly. But there was another thought that gave her pause. Hannah, I'm going to help you find your brother in Macau, just don't say anything you don't mean. Images of Dewey flashed through her mind. She couldn't let things end like this, not when she was so close. A sudden blow to her ribs snapped her back to the present. Damn it! Why did I think of Giulio at a time like this? She was momentarily dazed, unsure whether to continue searching for Gavin Smith or confront this danger head-on. It feels like I'm always a step behind him. She pulled away, deciding to play it safe. Stay here. Don't move an inch, she whispered to herself, almost instinctively. She recalled Giulio's words about Oslo. If I could find him, maybe I'd get some answers. Across the room, she spotted a man standing with an Asian companion, Mujin Kong. Just then, a stranger accidentally brushed against her, spilling a drink on her dress. Oh, dear. My dress, she gasped, flustered. Are you all right? A man nearby asked, stepping forward to assist her. Oh, thank you. I think it'll come off, she replied, a bit embarrassed. Hana, the man asked, seeming intrigued. Are you Koreans? Yes, I am. And you?
Yes.
Actually, I'm the owner of this ship, he added with a proud smile. Really? Lily raised an eyebrow. Then this meeting must be fate. Do you mind hiding me for a bit? The man blinked, surprised. Pardon? She leaned in closer, whispering, I came here to meet my sister, but a stranger started bothering me. I need to get away. If that's the case, come with me, he offered quickly. I have a private room on the second floor. Say was right, she thought as they walked. He's not fooling anyone with this shipowner act. His nervous demeanor and clumsy performance were obvious. This has to be a decoy, she mused, careful with her words. But he might have a connection to the real Mujin Kong. Meanwhile, another man nearby issued instructions. First, bring me the profiles of all the waiters on board. And let's keep an eye on Hana Lee for a while longer. Things are about to get very interesting. Hana, it's not safe in there, someone cautioned. She responded firmly, I'll be fine. I know what I'm getting myself into. Her host offered, I'll lend you a robe so you can take care of that stain before it sets. That would be wonderful. I'm really sorry for the trouble, Hana replied, noting the surveillance camera above. If there's a listening device, it's probably hidden somewhere around there. Please, make yourself comfortable, he said warmly. It's the least I can do for a fellow countryman. Sure, she thought to herself, eyeing him skeptically. Weren't you saying earlier that you own this ship? That's right. My name is Mujin Kong. She feigned surprise. That's strange, because my sister mentioned she was here to see her lover, also named Mujin Kong. Seems like she's dating quite the playboy. Oh, you see, he stammered, visibly flustered. How wonderful. I actually happen to like bad boys myself, she teased. Honestly, you're probably too good for my sister. Oh, are really? He stammered, looking hopeful. After subtly patting him down, Hana confirmed he was unarmed. Just as I thought. With a sudden shift, she demanded, Who the hell are you? Startled, he tried to keep up the act, but Hana wasn't fooled. And don't even think about lying to me. You're not Mujin Kong, are you? He tried to reach for help, but Hana cut him off. Don't bother calling for guards. They're here to keep an eye on you, not protect you. Now tell me, where's the real boss? Ivy never met him before, he stammered. One day, I just got a call out of the blue from a Cambodian number. Then call him. Now, she demanded, her voice hardening. Don't make me repeat myself. Hana knew the real Mujin Kong might be watching. This should force him out of hiding. PP, please no, he pleaded, his voice breaking, just as a gunshot echoed through the room. Giulio burst in, hearing the commotion. What's going on? We heard a gunshot. The man spilled everything, unable to keep his mouth shut. Hana realized he's using a voice modulator. She spoke into the device, addressing Mujin directly. What you do is none of my business. All I care about is finding my brother Dewey. I have just one question for you. Do you have him? There was a pause. Then the voice on the other end replied mockingly. Let me think. Impatience flared in Hana. If you don't start answering me, I'm going to find you and do to you what I'm doing to this coward. Oh, calm down, the voice said tauntingly. Take your hands off him for a moment. Giulio, furious, muttered. That bastard. The voice turned serious. Listen carefully, Hana. I don't have your brother, but he's closer than you think. Hana's eyes widened. The voice continued. Now, I'm about to end this party. Don't freak out.
What? Hana whispered, alarmed.
We'll meet again, Hana. Until then, the line went dead. As realization dawned on her, Hana thought, he's planning something big, which means Giulio's in danger. She turned to a guard. Find Hana and bring her to me before I rip this ship apart with my bare hands. Hana, slow down for a second. Giulio called out, trying to catch up. Tell me, who exactly is Mujin Kang's target? Hana hushed him, urgency in her voice. Sure. He's watching us right now. We need to at least pretend we're fighting. Try to play along. Giulio stood still, tense, as Hana continued. I'm going to throw you in there. Stay put until we figure out the ship's blind spots. I asked who the target is, Oslo. Hana pressed. Answer me carefully. This is your last chance. It's Giulio Parenti, Oslo replied, his voice laced with hesitation. Hana's eyes widened in shock.
What?
The son of a bitch who masqueraded as Giulio now wants to kill him. Suddenly, chaos erupted as a bullet whizzed by. Get down, Hana shouted. You saw that, right? He seems to have it out for everyone around me. You should try to save yourself. Oslo looked uncertain. What now? What are you planning to do? I need to save Giulio Parenti, Hana said firmly. He promised to help find my brother. Are you insane? Oslo exclaimed. Do you hear yourself right now? Hana smirked. Have I ever seemed sane to you? A sudden shout from Giulio interrupted them. Hana, wait. No. Hana snapped, urging him to stay focused. Oslo, get out of here before the other agents get caught up in this. You be careful too, Hana, Giulio warned. You're Mujin Kang's target. A gunshot rang out, but Hana hadn't fired it. Does Giulio have snipers hidden nearby? She wondered. A familiar figure emerged from the shadows. Where the hell were you? She demanded. I went looking for Mujin Kang, Giulio replied, his expression unusually concerned. What's with the look on his face? It's like he's worried I might get hurt. Hana was still shaken. I'd like to ask you the same thing. What's with all this blood? Let's get inside first, Giulio said, holding her steady. Hold on, I need to take care of something first. Once inside, he finally answered her question. Okay, now we can talk. How badly are you hurt? Hana's smirk returned. Did you really think this was my blood? This is from beating the hell out of my would-be assailants. Giulio sighed in relief. Enough about me. I thought something had happened to you. When I saw that bullet flying this way, my vision went white. Now that I know you're safe, he added, his tone shifting, we don't need to drag this out any longer. Just so you know, your brother isn't here. It seems he made it off the ship safely, so don't worry. Giulio took a moment to pause before speaking again. It's me. Yes, destroy them all. I'll be at the hotel soon. Hana's gaze shifted to the drink in front of him. Did you drink any of this? No, Giulio replied sharply. I don't drink on the job. Why, what's wrong? Hana's expression darkened. Damn it.
Hey!
What the hell are you? Giulio suddenly stopped, his expression changing as he remembered the situation. Hold on. What was in that bottle? We need to get off this ship, Hana urged. The FBI are swarming the place. Giulio exhaled in disbelief. Yuri Petrov's hotel. I can't believe this. Hana glanced at him with a knowing look. He goes berserk every time someone other than us tries to touch him, as if he wasn't crazy enough without the drugs. This isn't the first time. Aren't you used to it by now? She was relieved to see Giulio had made it safely. You can relax here, she said. No one can enter this place without permission. Giulio, still shaken, asked, so, did he get drugged, or did he knock himself out somehow? Both, Hana replied bluntly. Look, I'm too exhausted to explain right now.
Take this.
Giulio looked at the object in her hand. What is it? It's a phone connected to Mujin Kang, she explained. I don't know how to unlock it, but you probably do. Get a location tracker on it, and bring it back to me. Make sure you duplicate the data too. And don't forget, I'm the one who gave you all this info. Giulio raised an eyebrow. I guess that's an order? Use the stuff Rose gave you, Hana urged. The wine Giulio consumed had a new type of stimulant mixed with an aphrodisiac. It doesn't even have a name yet. The antidote capsule might cause a slight shock, but he'll come to his senses right away. You had the drug analyzed already?
Giulio asked, impressed.
That's my job, Hana responded. But if we leave him like this… Well, Hana paused. That might make things difficult for you. You should go now, Lorenzo. Why would I do that? Lorenzo questioned, confused. Hana pointed to his upper abdomen. I know you're wounded. Lorenzo hesitated.
Because.
Hurry up and go. Don't make me worry, she insisted. Are you sure you don't want me to send help? I'll be fine, Hana reassured him. I don't want anyone dying at the hands of this psycho. All right then, Lorenzo said. If nothing works, just pour ice water all over him. I believe in you. Just go already. With a sigh, Hana turned to face the unconscious Giulio. Now, how do I wake this crazy bastard? She muttered in frustration as he stirred. Are you finally sobering up? Giulio groggily muttered. Get out. Or get a different room. Hana raised an eyebrow. What? Are you going to take out your frustrations with one hand? Not a bad idea. Want me to watch? If you get excited, you'll be able to take care of it faster. Don't make me laugh, Giulio groaned, still struggling. Whatever happens, you have to keep a grip on yourself. Hana smirked. I know you don't like asking people for help either. Come on, let's get you in bed. Giulio.
Hey.
What the hell are you doing? Hana shouted, panic in her voice. Get out of here. At least if you leave, I won't be at risk of being overwhelmed by you like some animal. I might bleed to death from getting caught up in your antics, but something like this would never kill me. For now, just hold me. Giulio's gaze was intense as he looked at her, a wild look in his eyes. Isn't this what you wanted? He muttered. Hana hesitated. Wait. Should we really be doing this? She questioned, the weight of the situation pressing down on her. Maybe she should just give him the antidote, even if it could cause a shock. I'm sorry, Hana, but if you're starting to regret this, it's already too late, Giulio said, his voice calm yet firm. Who said anything about regret? Hana shot back, though her hesitation lingered as he leaned closer. With a sigh, Giulio pulled her closer. Stay here with me until I've made every inch of your body mine and you're drunk on me, he murmured. Hana felt a sense of unease, but Giulio's grip only tightened as he continued. Finally, I was about to die of hunger. Hana looked at him, confused. What's with that outfit? Giulio explained. They were questioning all the waiters on board. I had to disguise myself as a delivery guy to get away. Hana smirked. If that's all it was, don't worry. I anticipated that might happen. I made sure they'd never recognize you, no matter how closely they scrutinized the staff list. Giulio nodded, though his mind wandered. I saw a lot of faces at that party. And I think there was someone you know among them. Someone I know? Hana asked, intrigued. Giulio's gaze softened as he spoke. Your sister. I think I saw Hana with Giulio Parenti. It looked like they were in love with each other. Giulio slowly stirred awake, his gaze locking onto Hana. You're awake, she noted, her tone sharp. What were you doing? Checking to see if I'm alive. Perhaps, Giulio replied quietly. Were you wondering if you forced yourself on me? Hana scoffed. You've got to be kidding me. Do you think I'd ever let that happen? She asked. Last night was simply an exchange to satisfy each other's needs. The more you want me, the easier it will be to get what I want. Hana rolled her eyes. Needs, you say? I'll take that to mean you want the same thing I do right now. Giulio smirked, leaning closer. Look at you trying to make a move again. Not right now, okay? Don't even think about touching me for the next 2 days, Hana snapped. As you wish, Giulio responded with a mock bow. Hana then shifted focus. We've finished examining Moojin Kang's phone. The most recent call was placed from inside the ship we were on yesterday. This means the real Moojin Kang was present at the party hosted by Myun Shipping Company, despite using a stand-in. Did you get anything from your phone call with him? She asked. He said he didn't have Dewey with him, Giulio explained. I'm not sure he was telling the truth, but the chances are high he was. With Gavin Smith on the move, I'm sure things weren't proceeding smoothly for him. Hana nodded thoughtfully. What about trying to get information from Logan? Mujin Kong may be his client, but you still have a closer relationship with him. Giulio shook his head. I would if I could, but Logan takes his client's privacy very seriously. Hey, Hana, he said, pulling out a photo. Here's a picture of the real Mujin Kong. I tried to enhance it last night. Do you recognize him, by any chance? Hana stared at the photo, her expression faltering. This face that looks a lot like Eunseong. Come to think of it, I haven't seen him all morning. Eunseong, Romano, and Lorenzo are injured, she added, growing anxious. Where could Eunseong be? Giulio raised an eyebrow, his voice playful. Hana, why are you staring so intently at a photo of another man? Are you tired of me already? I am the one you spent the night with. Are you jealous? Hana shot him a sharp look. This isn't the time. Just then, Giulio's phone buzzed. I just received an update about the son of a bitch who betrayed you. He was the victim of a murder attempt. A murder attempt? Hana questioned, bewildered. Why would someone try to kill Taijun? Was it? Giulio's eyes narrowed. There's only one person who'd do such a thing. Hana's heart raced as she asked, so where is Mujin Kong right now? The announcement echoed across the nation. The president addressed the public, his voice filled with anger and resolve. My fellow citizens, foreign criminals have targeted an innocent citizen, as well as the secret agents working tirelessly to protect the Republic of Korea, he began, his tone fierce. Du Lee, a member of the Overseas Narcotics Investigations Team, was killed in a terrorist bombing, and his colleague, Taijun Choi, is in a coma, fighting for his life. There was one more victim, Mujin Kong, CEO of Myun Shipping Company. After being brutally murdered at the party he was hosting, his body was thrown overboard into the sea. He paused, his expression pained. Though it pains me to do so, the time has come to reveal our family's shameful secret. The late Mujin Kong was my half-brother. After being estranged as children, we reconnected as adults. You may criticize our family all you wish for our failures, but I vow to bring to justice the criminals who killed my brother and mutilated his body. An accomplice in the crime has been identified, and we have requested assistance from the FBI and CIA. Fellow citizens, please keep these victims in your prayers. The speech was designed to sway public opinion, but it didn't go unnoticed. Interesting, a voice said from the corner. I didn't expect you to start manipulating public opinion right after I announced the death of the fake Mujin Kong. I had no idea you were such a talented actor. Moho. Mr. Valentine, with a calm but steely gaze, responded, What brings you here, Mr. Kong? I'm here to terminate our contract, Moho Kong said, his voice cold. You targeted my agents. That is a strict violation of the rules. Are you being a little harsh? Valentine asked. I wasn't the one who shot at them. Then who was it? Moho demanded. Maybe it was all orchestrated by the FBI, Valentine suggested, his tone thoughtful. It doesn't seem so far-fetched, considering all the criminals who were brought together under the guise of a party. Moho took a breath, shifting his focus. Now, I believe you have more important matters to worry about at the moment. Mujin Kong is dead, and your political machinations have captured the public's attention. They'll soon demand swift punishment for the criminals responsible, which, of course, includes Giulio Parenti. The media was already buzzing with reports. South Korean CEO shot to death. FBI names Italian Mafia as prime suspects. Who do you think benefits from all this? Valentine asked with a knowing look. Moho, frustrated, muttered, How is this possible? Everything's going exactly the way Mujin Kong wanted. This is dangerous. I should keep my distance from him. Whatever the case may be, I will no longer be accepting requests from Myun Shipping, Moho declared. I'll give you 5 times the compensation. Valentine was intrigued but cautious. What on earth are you going to ask of me? Moho's voice grew dark. Your task is simple. Protect Hana Lee and ensure that not a hair on her head is harmed. Meanwhile, Hana, unaware of the escalating situation, asked Eunseong to head to the other side and block all potential escape routes. The target is a waiter wearing a red bow tie, she instructed, though she knew it was a lie. Later, Eunseong, frustrated, confronted her. Have you genuinely developed feelings for Giulio Parenti? That mere dilettante, he growled, clearly annoyed. Hana sighed. That was an absurdly long shower. Just then, Eunseong entered the wrong room. Eunseong Yoo, he said, his voice icy. I think you've come to the wrong room. Mr. Yoo, Moho said, his tone final. You're fired. Eunseong looked taken aback. And why is that? Moho smirked. Are you worried that I might snatch Hana away? Eunseong's face hardened. I never liked the look of you. Moho's expression was one of quiet satisfaction. The feelings mutual. Moho stood, his anger barely contained as he confronted Hana. Keep your mouth shut if you know what's good for you, he snapped, watching her carefully. He noted that she wasn't denying his words, which only fueled his irritation. What the hell are you doing? He demanded, glaring at her as she stood, seemingly unfazed. Put that fist down, he added, his tone commanding. Hana, don't make me repeat myself. She remained silent for a moment before answering with a calm but defiant expression, prompting Moho to demand an explanation. What's going on? Why were you and Eunseong fighting? Hana's response was a smirk that seemed to mask something more intense. So you've chosen, she began, before bursting into a laugh.
Ha.
Ha ha ha. Moho's patience snapped. Don't look at him, he said sharply. I'm dismissing him as your bodyguard. Hana's eyes widened in disbelief.
What?
No, you can't fire him, she exclaimed. If there's a possibility that Eunseong is the real Mujin Kong, we have to keep him close and monitor him. Moho's gaze turned steely. Hana, he said firmly, did I not warn you to keep your distance from Parenti? I thought finding your brother was your top priority. Hana hesitated, but then recalled the photo she had shown him earlier. About that photo you showed me before, Moho continued, his voice lower. There was something we failed to notice. A message Dewey was trying to convey to you. Did you figure out something new? Hana's mind raced. Indeed, but as you just saw, I've been fired, so I no longer have an obligation to tell you what that is, Moho added coldly. Hana stood still, frustration rising. I should have just let him beat the shit out of you, Moho muttered, before continuing. This is my final offer. Join me, and I will help you. Hana shook her head, her resolve hardening. Now's not the time for a romantic entanglement with a mobster, she retorted. Eunseong. She thought to herself, her mind clouded with conflicting emotions. Did you expect me to grovel and beg for your help? She muttered under her breath. Well, you thought wrong. I'm more than capable of finding Dewey on my own. But deep inside, Hana couldn't shake the feeling that Eunseong might be right. From the beginning, her plan had been to use him, nothing more. Yet, despite that, she couldn't ignore the part of her that kept hoping for more, even though she knew an intimate relationship with him was never part of her plan. Her thoughts were interrupted as a knock sounded at the door. Hana, a voice called softly, Don't come in. Please let me in. I am begging you. Could it be Dewey? Hana's heart raced. Hello? Dewey, is that you? She called out, her voice trembling. Hana, are you okay? Came the frantic response. You have to get out of there. What the hell are you doing in a place like that? Have you forgotten that Giulio Parenti is part of the Mafia? Dewey's voice crackled through the phone, filled with urgency. Have you forgotten that Giulio Parenti is part of the Mafia? He demanded, his tone sharp. Hana, however, stood firm. I know that. I know he's a mobster, she replied, her voice steady. But I've made my choice. This is my best hope for finding you. Dangerous doesn't even begin to describe it. Dewey warned, panic in his voice. You could get seriously hurt. Hana's response was calm but resolute. I could say the same for you. Where the hell are you? Dewey asked, his concern growing. I can't tell you anything too specific, Hana said, lowering her voice. They might be tapping my phone. Just give me your coordinates. Dewey paused before rattling off a series of numbers. 22, 31, 9, 83. Stay where you are, Hana insisted. The bastards who said you were dead, and the sons of bitches who messed with you, I'm going to kill them all. Dewey's voice softened with emotion. I miss you, Hana. Don't get yourself hurt, Hana replied urgently. Please, hold on just a little longer, Dee. Her mind made up, Hana turned to Giulio.
I'll come with you, she said.
Why? He asked, his gaze intense. There's nothing in it for you. Because he's special to you, Hana answered quietly, though a part of her wrestled with the emotions she was trying to suppress. I don't like the fact that he's taking up all of your attention, but I'll do what I can to help. Giulio's eyes darkened with a distant pain as he began to share a part of his past. There's something I want to tell you. When I was a Valentine's Day agent, a man I'd put behind bars lost his whole family while he was in prison. He said he'd make sure I'd suffer the same pain he had gone through. He said he'd kill everyone dear to me. Giulio chuckled bitterly. That's laughable, he said. I didn't take him seriously at first, either. But then, when Dewey went missing, I had a dream about that man for the first time in a long time. His voice grew colder. He's dead now, Roma. But I suppose I can't help being haunted by his words. The chain of malice I set in motion may one day come back to bind me. That's why I'm afraid of letting people into my life. Hana listened, her heart heavy as Giulio continued. Because if our bond grows stronger, they might end up hurting. He looked at her, waiting for her response, but Hana remained silent for a moment. Those are baseless worries, she said finally. Giulio shook his head. Let me tell you about my past, he began, his voice taking on a darker tone. I once had a mother, the woman who brought me into this world. She had raven hair and fair skin. She also had a lover. My father forgave her because he loved her, but my younger brother, Flavio, refused to accept the affair. His expression darkened further as he continued. As a result, he was murdered by our mother's lover. When I found his lifeless body in the chapel, I immediately went looking for the killer. I tore off his limbs and shattered his skull. Then, I sent his remains to my mother. A cold smile curled on his lips. Next, I inflicted upon her a death far more agonizing than Flavio's. That's the kind of man I am. I show no mercy and commit crimes without remorse, even when my own family are my targets. He looked at Hana, searching her face for any sign of judgment. How does that make you feel? Do you despise me now? Hana didn't answer immediately. She thought back to their first meeting in the trailer. Giulio, she said finally, do you remember the first time we met? You struck me as a man who would gladly accept death when it came for him. She paused, then added with a quiet certainty, I don't despise you, nor do I fear you. I simply feel that I can understand you better now. Hana took a deep breath. I know that any form of assurance is a luxury. Once I find Dee, I will need to leave within 2 days. So, for now, this is enough. Things were spiraling out of control. Giulio couldn't believe what he was hearing. I can't believe your sister and that mobster are, he began, but Dee quickly interrupted. That's not how it is, Dee insisted, his tone firm. She only went looking for Parenti because that bastard Taijun Choi gave her false information. I've given her my location, so we can discuss this matter in person. Giulio was taken aback. Still, I had no idea he was so attached to his sister. Dee's thoughts flashed back to the first time he met Dee at the bombing site in Cambodia. Listen to me. I'm here to save you, Dee had shouted. We're on the same side. I know you're chasing after Mujin Kong and Taijun Choi as well. After much persuasion, they had eventually started working together. Then came the shocking news. Mujin Kong had invited all the criminals he had impersonated to a lavish boat party. However, when the ship turned into a scene of carnage, Mujin Kong conveniently shifted the blame onto the others, evading the law. Giulio never thought he'd end up picking up a gun to protect Giulio Parenti. Code K? He asked, confused. What's going on? Code N, Gavin, came the response. There's been a complication. Take a look at the link I just sent you. The news that followed shocked everyone. The late Mujin Kong, who was brutally murdered before being thrown into the sea, was my half-brother. Dee muttered. Giulio's mind raced. What the hell is all this about? Mujin Kong is dead. It's all fake news, of course, Gavin explained. But they've managed to sway public opinion. And that's not all. Following an examination of surveillance footage from Yun Shipping's boat party, Hong Kong police have determined that Dee Lee, The Korean national previously believed to have perished is alive and was seen escaping. They've also discovered his involvement in drug trafficking and other crimes. Hong Kong authorities have requested assistance from South Korea for an international investigation, and the FBI and CIA have issued arrest warrants for Giulio Lee. Giulio's situation had just escalated. There's someone who's figured out that you're working with Giulio Lee, Gavin added. Damn it. Don't tell me it's... That's right, Gavin confirmed. Mafia Sergei. He's on your tail. Here's a word of advice. Run. Gavin urged. God damn it. Giulio swore. Pack up your things and get in the car. I'll go get the engine started. Wait. Giulio called out. Hana's on her way here. Just call her again. I don't have service here. Giulio snapped, frustrated. What are you looking for? Giulio asked as Giulio fumbled through his bag. The cell phone I used while working undercover in New York, Giulio explained. After betraying Parenti, I vowed never to switch this on again. Let's get moving, Giulio. I'll give that son of a bitch Parenti a call. Mr. Kong. Came a voice on the other end. What prompted the clash with Giulio Parenti? It seems my attempts to get closer to Hana Lee didn't sit well with him, Giulio admitted. This might be for the best. Considering the substantial risks involved in taking matters into my own hands, getting fired is the preferable outcome. But Hana, you thought wrong, he muttered to himself. I'm more than capable of finding Giulio on my own. Mr. Kong, the FBI are on the move, his associate warned. I advise you to leave this place for now. Hold up, Giulio interrupted. Do you see that car over there? Isn't that one's brother? Giulio exclaimed. He looks exactly like her. Follow that silver sedan, Giulio ordered. Mr. Kong, don't let it slip away. We're going to capture Giulio Lee alive. Giulio received troubling news. He had just learned the FBI was on the move. Gavin Smith had called him, warning him to leave Hong Kong immediately. He wasn't the only one receiving the intel. Another voice confirmed, I got the same intel. Let's wrap up here and meet at Repulse Bay in 15 minutes. Giulio was hesitant. Leaving right away is going to be difficult, he replied, his voice filled with concern. Because of one, came the reply, a knowing tone in the air. This wasn't like Parenti. The other person in the conversation pressed him further. Why don't you just put her to sleep with all the drugs you have at your disposal? And don't give me any bullshit about being out of stock or afraid of side effects. You've become a complete fool. Giulio, trying to maintain composure, responded, as much as I'd like to pretend to believe you, this affair has implications for me. So, I'll tell you this. Do you recall the drugs concealed in one's bracelet? The conversation shifted. In addition to a stimulant, there's a small amount of propofol, a sleep-inducing agent. I trust you're aware that there are no side effects, given its medical purpose. The decision was clear. You can either remove her from their unconscious, or linger and await capture by the FBI. The choice is yours, the voice concluded. Giulio looked at the situation and gave his orders. Get everyone out of here. I'll join you later. And bring me a syringe. Then chaos erupted. What the hell is up with that car? Giulio shouted. It started firing at us, out of nowhere. Do you think Mafia Sergei has hunted us down already? One of his men asked in a panic. No idea, Giulio answered, urgency in his voice. We need to get off this narrow road. Get closer to them. They sped down the road, narrowly avoiding danger. Closer. Step on it, Giulio ordered. As they neared their target, he couldn't shake the feeling that something bad was about to happen. Are you ready? Came the question. I have this ominous feeling, Giulio replied, his nerves on edge. We should hurry. I decoded the coordinates. He's near Stanley Bay. If we can just get there. But before they could reach safety, something went wrong. This isn't the time, one of his men started, but then was cut off by a muffled noise. What the hell are you doing? Giulio demanded. I'm sorry, came a voice, but it was too late. The realization hit hard. You son of a bitch, Giulio cursed as Dewey staggered toward him. Who are you? Dewey asked, his expression cold. Giulio met his gaze, his anger rising. Me? Let's just say I have a special relationship with your sister.